Hey, hey. Hello, San Juan del Rio. We are getting ready for Field Day 2017, and we are going to make this the greatest one in school history. If you can see this picture here it looks like somebody's trying to get up this hill, but there's a gap. He's going to enter a problem. But if you could look at the end here, they're on their way smooth sailing, and hopefully that's what we're going to have happen on this Friday. First, let's find out where we've been. So Field Day in 2015, there were a total of 8 stations, and there were 2 classes at each station. For example, 1 Bebo versus 1 Jordan. And at a particular station, there might be 1 student from Bebo's class playing and competing against 1 student from Mrs. Jordan's class. Meanwhile, the rest of the students, which could be 40 to 45 students, were standing in line, waiting their turn, and maybe cheering people on. So we had about 16 students active at a time, but out of the 120 minutes you were allotted for Field Day, you were probably only active for about 8 of them, which means you're only active for about 6% of that time. Field Day 2016, we made a little bit of progress. We added a whole bunch of stations, and we eliminated 2 classes per station. So you can see here, instead of having 3 Ward versus 3 England, we just had 3 Ward versus 3 Ward, and you were able to mix yourself up as you went to different stations. We had 9 new games this year compared to the previous year, and notice we had 74 students active at a time. That bumped up your active time up to about 40, but you can see here we did have a longer Field Day. We had 180 minutes. So approximately you were active for about 22% of the time out at Field Day. So let's look at that gap that we saw at the very beginning. And those are our problems. Last year, 3 hours was just a really long time for people to be out in the sun. There was still too much standing around. Only 22% of the time people were active. One of the comments that I got were, we enjoyed the more stations, but we didn't like playing against our class all of the time. And lastly, we lost some space due to the portables being moved, and some of the pipes that had to go in behind the middle school building have left that area very bumpy and unsafe. So we have these problems that we're going to try and fix here in this upcoming year. But it's going to require you guys to hang on and to trust. As you can see, this person is doing everything they can to get up to the top of this hill. So we're taking a leap this year, and I think we're going to land successfully on our way and continue on. But there's going to be a brand new format. The new format is going to consist of a bingo period. Everybody will go over to the parish hall. You will have 1 homeroom activity period, and that's up to your homeroom teacher, whether you do stuff in class or with another homeroom teacher. And lastly, you will be out at Field Day for 2 activity times, and I'll get to those in just a minute. But with our new format, there are no stations this year. There's just 2 areas. In between those 2 areas, there's 15 different games. The first area is going to be over on the athletic field, and there you could play running bases, egg and spoon race, milk crate madness, everyone zit tag, tug of war, 3-legged race, and wacky waiter relay over in the playground mulch. Over at the school area, that's areas around the blacktop and the sidewalk, will be the Bigfoot race, giant Jenga games, Connect 4, scooter races, tic-tac-toe, jump rope races, pipeline, and tilt-a-cup. So this year, you have the freedom to play any game you want because you're going to be in the field area for a certain amount of time, so you can play any of those 7 games. And another added bonus is you could play against anyone you want to with the kids that are in your area. Just to let you know, students in 1st and 2nd grade, you guys will be in an area together. 3rd and 4th grade, you will be together in an area. 5th and 6th will be together, and 7th and 8th. So for example, some of the 7th graders could get together and face off against some of the 8th graders, or whatever you want. Some of the 7th graders in Provenza's class can play some of the 7th graders in Mrs. Seitz's class. We will have some new games this year, but I predict we will have about 80 students active at a time. and I predict students will be active for about 45 out of the 75 minutes. That means we will be active for hopefully 60% of our field day time. All right, making this work, getting our stride. I want to challenge you and your friends to participate in every game and avoid waiting in long lines. So if there's a whole bunch of people that want to do running bases, look around. There should be some games that don't have as long of lines, or maybe no lines at all. Just a reminder, there's 8 games in the school area and 7 games in the field area. But if you do have to wait, let's wait patiently, and if somebody gets in line, just start to form a line if other students come behind you and say they want to play. Or better yet, ask other students to join you and compete against you. Don't just play with your friends. Look to reach out to other students in our San Juan del Rio community. Last year, we initiated a Sportsmanship Award, which the winner got a $25 script gift card. And so here I want to read a definition of sportsmanship. You win without bragging, lose without complaining, and play while respecting others. So teachers, you're going to give me the names of a few students that exhibit some of these traits that we see on the screen. Students that look to include others in their games, that acknowledge and applaud good plays from their opponents. Or I don't have it on the screen, but they're shaking hands whether they win or lose. Students who are respecting the volunteers and their decisions, because they might be the judges in some of these games. And also make sure you're listening for students to thank volunteers for their time, because without them, field day wouldn't be possible. So here you can see our journey where we've been, this hurdle that I believe we're going to conquer, and we're going to get on our way to the best field day in San Juan del Rio history. Until next year.